Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sparkles of Love's Transmissions. My name is Ana-La-Rai, and at Sparkles of Love, our purpose is to provide you with the newest and most advanced energies, tools, and information to accelerate your spiritual awakening. We help you get out of that struggle and sparkle your way to your next spiritual breakthrough. So today is episode 30, and I'm kind of excited to talk about soulmates because we hear this term all the time and lots of words around it. And I kind of think soulmates is one of those words that is overused, but let's delve into it a little bit. I have some information to share, and the guides will come in. And if you have questions about soulmates, feel free to write them in the chat box and I will get to them at the end. So, all right. So, for me, when I think of soulmates, so many people think of it as the romantic sort of thing, meeting your partner, all of that, because that's where all the hype is. That's where you see all the stories and the books and the movies, and they use the term soulmates. And so it's really been, you could almost say, commercialized. It has been blown out of proportion an awful lot. But to me, what I get is that soulmates are part of our soul family. And we all have soul families. So I was thinking today, well, how is it we have a soul family when we're all in oneness? If we're moving into the higher realms and it's oneness and unity consciousness, then what's a soul family? So what they showed me, the guide showed me, it's kind of like, well, first of all, there's your spouse or your, and then there's your children. So and then you've got your aunts and uncles and your cousins. And then you go further out and you go to your second and third cousins and their families and their in laws. And you go like that. So, in actual fact, we're probably all connected to everyone on planet Earth because we all came from one place. If you went farther enough back, you'd find connections everywhere. And I know that when people do their ancestry, they find out they've been from all over. So, but soulmates is part of what we call your soul family. And your soul family are those souls that you are closely connected to, much like your human family and maybe your first line of cousins and aunts and uncles. They don't give me an exact on that. But your soul family are these souls that you're very connected with and you support and help each other out. And you often incarnate together because you have agreements. So each time that we incarnate, we're coming to learn new things or to have a new experience. Whether you call it good or bad in human language, it's irrelevant. Our souls are coming for experiences. They want to grow. You want to learn. Maybe you're going to make up for some karma, some negative karma you had in another lifetime. Maybe you want to experience something really difficult and challenging. So when we come through, the way my guides have always shown me is that they show me this really cool sitting around a fire, and those of you that go camping, when you're sitting around the bonfire at night and everybody's there in a circle, and the tribe is there, and there's a fire in the center, and people are telling stories or asking questions and sharing. So that's how my guides show it to me. And the way that they show me it all working is that, let's say I'm getting ready to incarnate and I say to my soul family, okay, I'm going to incarnate back down on earth again pretty soon. And one of the things that I need to heal or experience or really shift this time, because I've had it difficult in other lifetimes, is jealousy. I know that I have to deal with this emotion, and I want to have this experience so I can clear it. And so members of my soul's family will say, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to be there too. I will be your best friend, and I will flirt with all your boyfriends and your husband, because so you'll get jealous, And I go, great. that, I want to remember that I'm here to clear jealousy. So thank you. And then someone else will say, well, I'll do this. And someone else will say, I'll do this. And I'll take your job promotion. So you get jealous over that. And then someone might say, well, I'll have an affair with your husband. I'll be your neighbor and I'll have an affair with your husband. I'm like, great, because boy, I'm going to get jealous about that. And someone else says, well, maybe I'll incarnate too, because I want to work on something like this. And I will be your husband and I will have affairs. I will have, and I'm like, great, because I'm going to find out and I'm going to be so jealous that jealousy will be so in my face that I will have to deal with that trauma and shift it. Okay. So, and then, I've made those agreements on that part, or one small part of my life. And then the person who's my best friend says, I want help with this. Will you do this for me? And I'll say, sure, I'll make sure that, this is how you feel, that I'm a reminder of that all the time. So we make these agreements. And of course, we then incarnate and we forget them all. We forget them all. We just know. And very often when you meet soulmates or soul family, you can feel the energy of it. You feel like you've known them. You don't even know why. And most of the time you feel the really good stuff, right? You feel like, oh, I know this person, and how can this be? How can I feel so comfortable? I've never spent any time with them. So you often recognize soul family, but soul family isn't always on earth what we would call positive, because the neighbor that's coming down to have an affair with my husband, I might start to feel that energy and not like them very much, but they're part of my soul family. They're so committed to me and to my contracts and our agreements that they agree to have an affair, even knowing in human that it will hurt my feelings and it might devastate me. Okay. It might end my marriage. And so, again, we don't remember, but all of these things happen. So soul family help you with struggles. They help you with good things. But soul families, like someone that has wronged you, if you think of someone who's wronged you in the past that really hurt your heart for whatever reason, it might have been a sibling or a parent, it might have been a friend, it might have been a teacher at school. They might be very possibly a part of your soul family because they're honoring an agreement that you made to help you have an experience. So the people that have strong emotions in your life are often part of our soul family. So if you have questions, write in. Does that make sense to you? How many of you have experienced where you felt like you knew someone, where they feel so familiar or so comfortable? And um, soulmates, for me, the term most often isn't the romantic one, right? And I think that's one of the distortions down here is very often people perceive soulmates as this romantic thing. And they could be, they really could be. And, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And when you're really self aware and really awake, you get to start to see some of the agreements and contracts you made with people. And an example for me would be some of you know that I'm the channel for the Alchemy Collective Consciousness, and we work on helping raise the vibration for planet Earth and the Great Awakening. And I know that people that come and spend a lot of time with the alchemy have agreements with the alchemy. They might not be my soul family, but they have agreements with the alchemy to do this work. But I would guess, I'm pretty certain that some of the ground crew members are members of my soul family because they've also made a commitment to support me on this journey as I have made to them, right? So, um, so why are soulmates so important? Well, first of all, most often it just feels so nice to have someone that knows you, someone that gets you, right? And my closest friend on planet Earth, other than my husband, my closest friend, she and I have known each other for lifetimes, and she's wide awake, and we both know and recognized each other. Not when we first met, it's just within a few days, I found myself telling her things I'd never told anyone, and she did the same. And we looked at each other and just started bawling. And then as we explored more, we know we've incarnated many, many, many times together. We've had many relationships, best friends, spouses, parent, child, neighbors, not so best friend. We've had so many different experiences together. And it adds a layer to this lifetime and to the relationship you can have this lifetime when you can feel that continuity in some ways. And sometimes what happens is you meet someone and right away you don't like them. You're like, oh, but they're really pleasant and nice, but ooh, I get an awful, like that doesn't feel right. And the hair stands up on your arm and you're like, "Ugh, I don't want to go anywhere near that person." Well, they're probably part of your soul family, right? They're probably someone that you've had interactions with in other lifetimes, and you haven't finished your karmic relationship with them. You haven't finished resolving that lifetime. So you're picking up on the negative, right? And you want to shy away. But in actual fact, they are most likely part of your soul family, and you're remembering the energy or what was left, the remnants of that past life where it wasn't very good, where your agreements were ones that were hurtful or harmful, right? So now you're like, don't want to be near that person. So when you start to understand a little bit about soul family and soul mates, you get to interact differently if you choose to. You get to interact differently if you choose to. And soul family, in my experience, is not always the same as your human family, right? So some members of your human family are most likely part of your soul family, but not necessarily all of them, okay? Because we come down and want to have different experiences at different times. So, which questions do you have about that, or does anyone want to share? So, one person, Paula, says, I've met a number of people I know would understand to be my soul family. Thank you. Yeah. And Ulrich says he remembers. Monica says she remembers one. Christian as well. Which questions do you have about soulmates? And it's interesting because the guides, I'm doing a 1-day workshop on Saturday, February 8th, and it's about finding your soulmates. So they're going to do a whole workshop around this. And I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what they want to share with us. But I think in this time, okay, wait, I think I'm just going to bring them through. Beloved ones, I am Lady Venus Love Star, and I wish to come forward and talk to you and share with you that the reason we're bringing through this session today and this session on February 8th, the 1-day workshop, is that the veils, as you know, are thinning. The vibrations are rising. More people are expanding their consciousness and becoming more self-aware, what you call the awakening or the great awakening. And what is happening is you are going to feel stronger and stronger connections to your soul family. It is because as the veils fill, your energetic threads that connect you and your energetic signatures will become more aligned with those from your soul family. And we want you to understand that because the veils are thinning, the connection and the communication is much easier with the higher realms. And you may now reach out to your soul family who are on the other side and ask for more support or ask for information because they are there supporting you, wanting to support you. because we all want to, each individual you, to have the experience you set out to heal what you wanted to heal, to have new experiences, to balance past energetics, to learn new things, to grow. That is why you come. And one says, I feel the past life relationship with several people I know. Some I remember, some take some work. Great conversation. Thank you. Yes, and some do take some work. We love that comment. It is. It is I, Lady Venus Love Star, still, and we understand that some of those are very challenging because there might be karmic residue left from a past life that didn't end on a good note, so to speak. So thank you for that. But now you can make choices. As you have more awareness, you can make choices. And you have to remember that just because you feel that connection as a soul member, a soul family member, or a soulmate, doesn't mean the other individual yet feels it. And so you have to be aware of where they are and what their desire is. You can't force yourself on someone. And you have to allow them their own beliefs and their own time to feel the energy or not, or not. And another says, I've been advised a few times that a member of my biological family is my spiritual son. Can you explain what was meant by spiritual son? That is interesting. Okay, so it's Analarai here. Let me just go in. So what they're showing me is that in the very beginning of time of this incarnation, not this incarnation, this life cycle on planet Earth, when the 12 original creator beings came forth and eventually the Earth was repopulated. So what we have learned and seen is that the original creator beings were in pairs and they lived long times, like 800, what would be equivalent of 800,000, 1,000 years or more. And they had children, right? And so those children then continued the process, and more families and children were built over time. And that's what they're showing me. So whether that would be what they meant as spiritual son. But for example, I know someone that, so Mother Gaia was one of the original 12 creator beings, and the information I've been given. And so we saw that she had many children. And so a friend of mine was one of her first line of daughters. Okay. So when Mother Gaia says you're my daughter to her, it's really, she has been her daughter in the early time. But let me see if I get anything else for you there, MM. Um, Member of my biological family. So can you tell me what connection of your biological family this individual is? Is it a brother, a sister, a spouse? What is it? Oh, not spouse if it's biological, parent. And let me see if I can take a look. So just right in there. And okay, maybe they're still not here. Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? So for me, a spiritual son would mean they are part of your soul family. So he is he is my nephew in this life. Okay. All right. So what's coming up is that, Mary, is that I can feel and see that he's part of, you're part of the same family. But what I see also is that in other lifetimes he has actually been your son. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel that connection with him? So he's part of your soul family, but it feels like in other lifetimes he came through as you as a parent. And you might not have been a woman then. You might have been a parent as a father. Okay. So there's a he's it feels like he's been around you. The two of you have quite a connection. And so I don't know how it shows up this lifetime if you feel really close to him or not. Um, it feels like the message I'm getting is that to be besides his aunt is to be a mentor to him this lifetime if you resonate with him. So to be that safe place outside of mom and dad that he can come to a safe haven. That's what I get. And she says, yes, we have a mother son close bond, although he is my nephew. Yeah. And it feels like that you're really to be that safe, an extra safe space for him. You know, sometimes when they reach a certain age, it's hard to be involved with parents, and you go through that rebellious stage. But you really do have that bond, and he is part of your soul family and has been your son. Thanks for asking the question. All right, everybody. So remember that soulmates are part of your soul family. They're not all romantic, and we have contracts and agreements, and they come here to support us in our journey. And even when it doesn't always feel like it's a good thing, okay? Because that's also part of the journey that we've asked for. So if you want to know more or join us on February 8th, Saturday, February 8th, I'm doing a 1-day workshop on this called Attracting Your Soulmates. And it won't be about, I would suspect there'll be some stuff about romantic partners, but it's really about soulmates. And that can be found on my website, sparklesoflove.love. And that's Saturday, the 8th of February. So I hope you will join me then. I hope this gives you a little bit of light on soulmates and soul family, and you get to look at them differently. Maybe think about what some of your contracts have been. What agreements did you make before you came down? All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. And it's always a pleasure to connect with you. Oh, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit subscribe. Bye for now.